Welcome to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. I'm your host, Molly Watts. If you want to change your drinking habits and create a peaceful relationship with alcohol, you're in the right place. This podcast explores the strategies I use to overcome a lifetime of family alcohol abuse, more than 30 years of anxiety and worry about my own drinking, and what felt like an unbreakable daily drinking habit. Becoming an alcohol minimalist means removing excess alcohol from your life so it doesn't remove you from life. It means being able to take alcohol or leave it without feeling deprived. It means to live peacefully, being able to enjoy a glass of wine without feeling guilty and without needing to finish the bottle. With science on our side, we'll shatter your past patterns and eliminate your excuses. Changing your relationship with alcohol is possible. I'm here to help you do it. Let's start now. Well, hello and welcome or welcome back to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. With me, your host, Molly Watts, coming to you from, this week I'm going with a perfect Oregon. It is going to be perfect. And quite honestly, that's a really nice thing because last week ended up being kind of awful. We had all the smoke from the forest fires here in Portland. Our air quality got really bad. And it was just that when we have wildfire smoke kind of coming into the area, it makes your eyes, it's got this haze over everything. And I think your eyes work extra hard trying to get everything in focus, and it just kind of strains. It just, I don't know, very unpleasant. So we are out of wildfire smoke, though I know there are still many wildfires burning across Washington and Oregon. So we could hope for some rain for around here for those areas. We could really use some without lightning strikes, please, but rain to help the firefighters fighting all of those wildfires here in the Northwest. We are in my summer's greatest hits this month. And so we are going back and revisiting some of the most popular episodes ever of The Alcohol Minimalist. And we started last week with one of the earliest episodes. It was your relationship with alcohol, awareness and challenges. And we talked about the science of alcohol. It's actually my number one most downloaded episode. I mentioned in that it was a two-part series that I was doing. And the second half of that is your relationship with alcohol, awareness and challenges. And this is talking about society and industry. So this was literally episode number 3. Last week's was episode number 2. These are very early in the podcast history. And I wanted to share this one this week, and with a little caveat that at the end, it talks about getting ahead of the release of Breaking the Bottle Legacy, my book that was coming out in 2021, which is when I started this whole podcast. And the book, of course, has been published now for many years. So if you are looking for Breaking the Bottle Legacy, How to Change Your Relationship with Alcohol, you can find it over on Amazon. And most of this information from your relationship with alcohol, awareness and challenges comes from the book specifically. There's a chapter all about this. So if you want to dive in, go a little deeper, please pick up the book. All right. That's all I have for you. Have a great week, everybody. I hope you're having a great summer, and I will see you on Thursday. Breaking the Bottle Legacy is all about helping people change their drinking habits, to stop buffering negative emotions with alcohol, and to create a peaceful relationship with alcohol, past, present, and future. I am especially dedicated to serving adult children of alcoholics who worry about their drinking and want to have freedom from the anxiety and pain that alcohol has caused them throughout their lives. But even if you simply wanted to quit drinking, you want to quit drinking more than you want to, and you want to break from your daily drinking habit, then I am here to help you. In the last episode, I said that it was a two-parter, right? So last week we talked about alcohol awareness and challenges. And what I mean by that is awareness and challenges to the power that you have over your relationship with alcohol. And as you will hear, if you stick around this podcast long enough, is that I believe that most people who drink more than they want to, or believe they have an quote unquote unbreakable drinking habit are not physically dependent on alcohol. Statistics actually say that is true, and I believe that the vast majority of people who are quote unquote over drinking fall into that category. I also believe that we, the overdrinkers, have the power in our own brains to change our relationship with alcohol. And in the last episode, I talked about the first challenges to that power that are science-based and that make it difficult to change your drinking habits. I label these as challenges but I want to contend that half the problem lies in awareness. Once you become aware of the challenges, they lose their strength. We talked about brain chemistry and neuroscience and the neuroscience of habits as two areas of challenge that are based in science. And once you understand how alcohol impacts your brain chemistry and how our brains work to create habits, well, that helps you have the knowledge to overcome those challenges. So today, for additional challenges and awareness, we're going to be talking about how society and industry work to challenge our power when it comes to creating a new relationship with alcohol. Let's look at society first. So socially, drinking is an accepted default, whereas non-drinking is actually still treated with suspicion. And alcohol has been a part of human culture for a long, long time, dating back as far as the end of the Stone Age. The first historical evidence of alcoholic beverages came from an archaeological discovery of beer jugs from approximately 10,000 years ago. So lots of history around alcohol, right? Alcohol is also the most widely used legal drug available without a prescription. And in the United States, 70% of adults have consumed alcohol in the last 12 months. So to put it simply, drinking alcohol is socially accepted, it's widely practiced, and it is a part of our collective histories. In addition, it's glamorized throughout social media and advertising. And in 2016, the alcohol industry spent $2.3 billion on advertising here in the United States alone. So these statistics really equate to an incredible force of societal pressure encouraging you to drink alcohol. Television, movies, advertising, social gatherings all influence our beliefs. And your opinions about alcohol and your desire to drink spring from the lifelong mental conditioning of your unconscious mind. As we learned earlier in the last episode when we investigated science, the science that influences our drinking behavior, alcohol's positive effect is very limited, and the negative effects begin at a very low level of blood alcohol content. But this science is often ignored by society, and in fact, we often hear a lot of messages that associate pride with being able to drink people under the table, right? Moderation is recommended by health experts, but it's basically ignored in our alcoholic-centric culture. What's ironic is that we are literally immersed in messages that encourage us to drink, but we are simultaneously taught that people who can't handle their alcohol are weak, diseased, or broken. So, as an adult child of an alcoholic, I definitely had conflicting beliefs about alcohol based on my mother's addiction and based on societal influence. I knew that alcohol was a drug, but I also believed that my mother was different from me. So I hated what alcohol had meant in her life and how it impacted our relationship. But as strong as those feelings were, they didn't stop me from drinking because of the other side that I saw in terms of what society said alcohol was about. Early on, I drank in the same way as my friends did. I tried alcohol when I was a teenager and then more as a college student. And I drank excessive amounts on the weekends and at parties. But back then, it was certainly part of my social life and not a part of my daily life. I separated myself from my mother mostly because I didn't drink daily. I didn't worry about becoming an alcoholic because I held on to the definition of alcoholism that my mother had helped form for me. Of course, being alcohol-free was never something I considered either. I never questioned whether or not drinking was bad for me. It was just normal to drink alcohol when I was socializing. Drinking to excess and being hungover wasn't anything to worry about. It was simply what we did. So I also didn't realize that I was laying the groundwork for a progressive daily habit that would go from that one nightly drink to 3 to 4 and persist for 30 years. All of my experiences, all of my social interactions, all of the advertisements and movies I was exposed to, none of it was remarkable or unusual. And that is the challenge in and of itself. The subconscious programming, the cultural norm of drinking, kept me from truly evaluating my drinking habit until it had gone on for decades and caused years of anxiety and mental anguish, not to mention the toll that it was taking on my health. So once I made the decision to change my relationship with alcohol and educate myself on the real science of alcohol, it became a lot easier to see the truth of alcohol, the drug, was very different from society's messages about it. Questioning my beliefs and learning to separate the facts from marketing hype moved the subconscious messaging I had held on to for years into my conscious mind where I could evaluate it objectively. It was like turning on the lights. Seriously, you will never watch a movie, see a social media meme, watch a baseball game, attend a networking event, or even a friend's backyard barbecue without noticing all the subtle and overt messages you receive about alcohol. The society challenge to your peaceful relationship with alcohol may feel like the hardest one to overcome for some of you. I totally understand that, and I will be sharing more tips on dealing with that peer pressure and questions about drinking later on in the podcast. Hey, it's Molly, and I'm here to talk to you about Sunnyside Med. That's right, Sunnyside has a new program that they've been offering that includes medication that can quiet alcohol cravings. It's called naltrexone, and it works by making alcohol less rewarding in your brain. And Sunnyside now offers access to naltrexone 100% online and combined with personalized care. Thousands of people have already joined Sunnyside Med and are cutting their drinking nearly in half. Sunnyside Med doesn't just give you a pill. It is a whole support system to help you reach your goals. I really want you to check it out, so visit sunnyside.co/minimalist to learn more and see if you qualify today. The other challenge that I say is the third challenge to your power over your own relationship with alcohol is the alcohol industry itself. I separate that from society because society it's a cultural, it's historical, it is how we perceive and the messages we're sent about alcohol. The alcohol industry helps fuel some of those messaging and it's a business, right? So we need to look at the business of alcohol and how it impacts us. We touched a little bit on the dollars that the alcohol industry spends on advertising each year, but beyond marketing and advertising, the alcohol industry has a vested interest in keeping you drinking, right? Alcohol is big business. Sales of alcohol in the United States for 2018 were $253.8 billion, which was a 5% increase over 2017. Now, in 2020, we've all heard, and it's true, in 2020, alcohol sales increased with everyone staying home and the stress and anxiety of the coronavirus. In the United States, the alcohol industry is responsible for sustaining more than 4 million jobs, and it generates more than $70 billion in annual tax revenue. So to put that number in perspective, 1 year's taxes collected from the alcohol industry would fund federal student loan programs for 4 years or fund the federal government assistance to low-income families for a year. It would also cover the annual basic pay for all 2.3 million armed service members. Big dollars, right? The industry itself is robust and for many Americans provides the source of their livelihood. And because of its economic power, the alcohol industry influences both government policy and scientific research regarding alcohol. Dr. David Jernigan directs the Center of Alcohol Marketing and Youth at Johns Hopkins University's Bloomberg School of Public Health. And he says that laws dealing with alcohol production, sales, and use have eased thanks to efforts by alcohol manufacturers. He adds that public health messages about alcohol often cannot compete with the information from the alcohol industry. So what does this mean for someone who wants to change their relationship with alcohol? Well, it quite simply means that you're going to need to accept the fact that alcohol is going to be readily available to you for the rest of your life. This is a circumstance that is not likely to change. Whether you choose to drink alcohol or not, you will be surrounded by it everywhere you shop, go out to eat, at most entertainment and sports venues. And you will need to create your own peaceful relationship with alcohol through conscious awareness that the alcohol industry prefers to sell you more alcohol and works to counteract the science that shows alcohol to be harmful. If the lessons from the tobacco industry have taught us anything, it should be clear that big alcohol isn't going anywhere, and it does not have your health and happiness as its priority. So the challenges that I've outlined here, both last week and this week, science, society, and industry, they're challenges that everyone who wants to gain control over their relationship with alcohol is going to have to face. They are strong, but you are stronger. So for adult children of alcoholics like myself, these challenges are combined with a long-standing personal history with alcohol. And I definitely want to help adult children of alcoholics understand that even though we have our own challenges that stem from our long histories, it is not because of your genes that you right now may have the kind of relationship with alcohol that you have. You have the ability to create a peaceful relationship with alcohol, and I'm going to help you do it. So let's recap real quickly. Between challenges to your power over alcohol are 3: science, society, and industry. The habit of drinking is propelled by the chemical reaction of alcohol in the brain. The chemical reaction of alcohol in the brain is unique each time you drink alcohol, and it's impacted by factors like your age, your gender, your food intake, stress level, and setting. These are things we talked about last week, talking about the science first. Alcohol's biphasic effect means it makes you feel better and worse at the same time. And while your body's immediate chemical reaction to alcohol is unique, triggering the brain's reward center is universal, and it's the linchpin of habit formation for everyone. We talked about the triune brain, and it gave us a simple way to understand how the brain has evolved. The brain's reward center is located in the second area of the brain, the limbic system. The limbic system, also known as the toddler brain, is focused on seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, and conserving energy. And the prefrontal cortex is located in the newest area of the brain. It's also known as the adult brain, and it's responsible for higher thinking, executive function, and it's capable of projecting into the future. Creating a different relationship with alcohol is as simple as using your adult brain to override your toddler brain. Society challenges our brain power because drinking alcohol is culturally accepted and encouraged. Alcohol has been a part of society for at least 10,000 years, and the longevity strengthens its challenge to your brain's power. Advertising and marketing messages glamorize alcohol and are entrenched in our subconscious brains from childhood. The alcohol industry, big alcohol, is a robust and powerful industry that influences policy and research on alcohol. The alcohol industry has a vested interest in making alcohol attractive, affordable, and available to you. So, links to pertinent articles and studies will be again available in the show notes. And if you would like to pick up your free copy of Alcohol Truths, How Much is Safe, then please head over to www.mollywatts.com. That's Molly with a Y, WATTS.com. And you can get that free report as well as get advance notice of when Breaking the Bottle Legacy will be available on Amazon. If you have questions, if you'd like them answered here, please send them to me at podcast@mollywatts.com. Tune in next week and learn more about changing your drinking habits once and for all and creating a peaceful relationship with alcohol. Until then, choose peace, my friends. See you next week. Thanks for listening to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Take something you learned from this week's episode and put it into action. Changing your drinking habits and creating a peaceful relationship with alcohol is 100% possible. You can stop worrying, stop feeling guilty about overdrinking, and become someone who desires alcohol less. I work with people in 2 different ways, and you can learn about them over at my website. Go to www.mollywatts.com/workwithme or reach out to me directly. Shoot me an email, molly@mollywatts.com. We'll jump on a call and decide what might work best for you. This podcast is really just the beginning of our conversation. Let's keep it going. If there's one thing I know, it's that change is way easier when you stop trying to do it alone.